Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Indicom to interview cops involved in fatal shooting of wanted man. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom says the two police officers involved in Sunday's fatal shooting of 25-year-old twin Martha in Nain, St. Elizabeth are to be interviewed on Wednesday. The firearm of the policeman who discharged his weapon was confiscated by Indicom for ballistic testing. Mr. Mars was killed during a tussle with the cops when they tried to arrest him following a report of assault. Indicom Commissioner Hugh Faulkner told reporters that the probe will determine if the officers involved breached the Jamaica Constabulary's use of force policy and the constitutional provision of the right to life to all citizens. There are a number of instances where citizens who have been reported unharmed have met their demise, and some with knife or stone or machete and so on have also met their demise. And so, we are always seeking to establish whether there were steps taken to de-escalate the situation, to disarm the citizen before the fatal consequences manifest themselves, Mr. Faulkner told reporters. As part of its probe, Indicom is urging witnesses of the incident to contact its office. The St. Elizabeth Police have defended their actions which led to the death of Mr. Morrison. Superintendent Kenneth Chin, head of the St. Elizabeth Police, said the officers were conducting an operation at a bar in Steve Run district. Who had been wanted for a July 2022 murder, attempted to run when he was accosted. A video leading up to the shooting shows the cop trying to arrest Morrison. Despite being handcuffed, the man rebuffed attempts by the police to get him inside the police vehicle. One of the policemen called for backup, however, things took an ugly turn when the 25-year-old reached for the gun of one of the police officers. He was then fatally shot. Superintendent Chin said the two cops were injured in the incident. The St. Elizabeth Police said Mr. Morrison was wanted for murder in the parish and was previously charged for robberies. He was also wanted for robberies committed in Manchester. Contract issued for rehabilitation of Burke Road. A $32 million contract has been issued for rehabilitation of Burke Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Everett Warmington, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, told reporters on Monday morning that the repair should have already started. Along with Burke Road, he said the project will include repairs to Oxford Road, Young Street, Wellington Street, Cumberland Road, and William Street. 12 days ago, Blackcard residents complained that they have grown frustrated with the poor road conditions and inadequate drainage system in Spanish Town. Commuters were inconvened after protesting motorists and residents mounted roadblock along Burke Road. Lights out for would-be robbers in St. James. Two would-be robbers were killed by a licensed firearm holder during an attempted robbery on Greenwood Main Road in St. James on Saturday. Police are yet to identify the men. The Corporate Communications Unit said both men appear to be in their early 20s and are of dark complexion. One of them was dressed in a white long-sleeve shirt, short blue denim jeans, and a pair of black slippers. The other was dressed in a yellow shirt, yellow-blue denim pants, and a pair of black shoes. Reports from the Montego Bay Police are that about 10:15 p.m., the two men boarded a taxi at Bay West in Montego Bay. The taxi was heading to Falmouth Trelawney and had other passengers on board. The two men then requested a stop, and one of them reported to pull a firearm and place it at the driver's head, the police said. The licensed firearm holder, who was also a passenger in the taxi, saw what was happening and challenged the men. A tussle ensued and the would-be robbers were shot. They were later pronounced dead at hospital. A Glock 19 pistol with a magazine containing 5 9mm rounds was seized at the scene. The police said the licensed firearm holder is cooperating with detectives. Case involving cops charged with murder of Tyler transferred to Home Circuit Court. The case involving the 3 police charged with the murder of 29-year-old Tyler in Red Hill, St. Andrew, has been transferred to the Court Division of the Home Circuit Court. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions on Monday morning entered an application to end the case in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court. It was subsequently transferred. Corporal Miguel Ebanks, Constable Kamar Dennis, and Constable Percival Carter, their bails readmitted and are to return to court on February 3, 2023. Mr. Ebanks is represented by attorneys John Jacob, Courtney Rowe, and Lindell Wesley, while Mr. Dennis is represented by Peter Champini KC and Richard Lynch. Mr. Carter is represented by Valenita Robinson KC and Kimberly Whittaker. The 3 cops who are assigned to the St. Andrew North Police Division were arrested shortly after the death of Philip Wallace, a resident of Green Glide Close in Red Hills. Mr. Wallace was shot on July 16 while sitting outside a bar in his community. He was allegedly killed after refusing to pay the policemen in return for not bringing charges against him. JTA president wants greater security at schools after principal attack. Jamaica's Teachers Association JTA president Lasandra Harrison has blasted the government for what she claims is inadequate funding for infrastructure and security arrangements at schools following last Friday's chopping of a principal at a primary school. Her life is now under threat as a result of doing security work. We are in a state. The government of this nation cannot continue to articulate that what it provides for education, what it currently spends, is adequate. Its funding can be enough if all schools across the nation does not have perimeter fencing outside of the teachers begging, the principal begging, or when you finally find yourself on the list of the Ministry of Education, as for infrastructural development, Harrison said on Monday during her visit to the retirement primary school. Reports reaching reporters are that last Friday about 2 p.m., the school's principal, Anne-Marie Terrelong, was trapped in the head during an attempt to fend off a man who had entered the school, sending teachers and students scampering. Harrison, who was joined by principals from other St. Elizabeth schools in wearing black, said educators are burdened with too many responsibilities. It can't be that every school is not at an order, a day watchman, so that the principal and the teachers can carry out their business of teaching and learning, and the other human resources carried out their operational function, she argued. Harrison criticized the government's plan to cut incentives, including the remote inducement allowance. This retirement principal is a remote school, and to attract teachers to serve in schools like these and many across the length and breadth of the nation, what is an additional allowance to these individuals called the remote induced allowance currently, as well as teachers who serve in schools that are in vital communities, she questioned. Minister of Education and Youth Favor Williams also condemned the attack at retirement primary. We want our schools to be safe environments for students, teachers, and support staff, and this reprehensible attack undermines all the efforts being made to create safe spaces for the school community, Williams lamented. At that same time, I am urging school staff to exercise caution in confronting unauthorized persons who have entered their campuses. You do not know their state of mind or the extent to which they may be armed. It is better to summon the help of the security forces, she advised. Harrison further criticized the government for not boosting the morale of educators. Currently, the current government of Jamaica is considering to remove such an allowance, so we are asking of them what it is. You are not providing fencing, you are not providing watchmen, you are not providing allowance. How is it that you expect the moral and the motivation of the teachers to remain intact so as to carry out the business? Harrison asked. She said schools like retirement primary are facing challenges with security. They understand all too well Mrs. Terrelong's situation. It could have been them, the educators, this morning. It could have been me this morning. I serve as principal in my substantive post at the St. Faith Primary. I have had no day watchman. I too struggle with fencing challenges, and so the struggle is real. All schools need to be good schools, she said. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell